So there are fountain pens and there are fountain pens. This is the latter. So I work in the world of banking, and I very much keep that world separate from my YouTube life. However, everything I do, I use a fountain pen for. At work, I use nothing but fountain pens, and of course at home. It would be accurate to say that a river of ink runs through my life. When I'm in the office, fountain pens are often viewed as a bit of a curiosity, certainly a conversation starter with people I work with and with my clients. They're seen as a bit of a romantic relic, a more elegant way of writing passed down from a more gentle age. And I think through that, it gives me a bit more gravitas, a bit more permanence. It sort of ties me in with something more elemental. Now, each day before I go to work, I always pick out which fountain pen I want to take with me. Sometimes I carry several, and I always have my Kaweco Lilliput with me as sort of a backup piece. Now, one day I forgot to bring a fountain pen, and this was all I had. This is a fine pen. It's nice to write with, but there's a whole lot of screwing and unscrewing to get it to be a nice size for you, something comfortable that you can use. And all that assembly and disassembly really slows you down when it's time to write a note or to sign a name, which is something that I do quite a bit at my job every day. So that got me thinking, what would be the perfect business fountain pen that I could bring to my office and actually leave there, so I don't have to worry about never having the right perfect pen for the workplace. So I believe I found it. So I realize that is a very bold claim, but in order to decide on the perfect fountain pen, you have to think of how are you going to use it. For me, it's a lot of quick signing of my name and then passing the document on to someone else. So too broad of a stroke, a stub nib, a broad nib, something like that with a lot of ink is not going to dry fast enough for my needs. So my perfect fountain pen needs to be quite fine in its nib. So a fine nib, extra fine, maybe a medium. So that's one of my major considerations. And in that, I'm writing often on really cheap paper. It's essentially copy paper. It might have a very important legal document, but it's printed on copy paper. So that sort of makes me think of the Asian finds, the Pilots, Namikis, Sailor, those brands, because you're going to get a fantastic writing experience and the fine line will be truly fine. And that holds up better on cheaper paper, and it dries faster and it doesn't feather, and you don't have any of the issues that you would have with a much more voluminous flow of ink as through a stub or a broad. Another very important consideration is that I'm also using my fountain pens to take notes. I keep a ledger book at the office by Levenger, actually, that has decent paper that holds up very well to fountain pen ink. And I like a ledger book because it ties all your notes together. You never lose something that you've written down. Might be hard to find it, but it's in there somewhere. And that's very important for conversations, for phone numbers, and other things. It's all in there. But in writing those notes, you don't always want to call a lot of attention to yourself. Sometimes you're not the focus of the meeting. You're simply observing, trying to learn, trying to get to the heart of an issue. With that, I want a pen that's going to assimilate into that situation seamlessly and not scream a lot of attention toward itself. I don't want it to be glistening palladium that's going to reflect every light in the room. I don't want it to be incredibly vivid in its coloration. I don't want it to be overly flashy, encrusted with diamonds or gold, or anything else that's going to cast this sort of idea upon me that I might not want. I just want it to be very subtle, very rich, very unassuming, but also very inspiring for me. I do love those sort of transcendental moments where the beauty of your nib or the fact that you're writing with a fountain pen takes you out of a moment, or just sort of grounds you and reminds you that you're using a fine writing instrument that is tied to everything you do with your life. So this, of course, rules out any Mont Blanc. I find that glacier star symbol, it just carries too much weight on its own and attracts too much attention. This is for quiet fountain pens, for a quiet luxury fountain pen, or a really good workhorse that just fits seamlessly into your work environment. But for me, and where I am right now, my own fountain pen journey, I don't want a fountain pen that's too expensive or extravagant. I want the right fountain pen. I want it to be tough enough, beautiful enough, inspiring enough. And before I purchase something new, I would rather go through my own collection to see if I have something that I perhaps have overlooked. And this has happened. I get distracted. I put pens down. Some pens fall between the cracks. I'm in a process now of rehoming a lot of pens, but there are ones that I rediscover and then I wonder why I ever set it down. This is such a pen. This is the Sailor 1911L. Just the perfect pen for this application. I was lucky enough to pick this pen up for $126 on Amazon. It's not at that price anymore, but you can still find it around $200 and change, upwards over $300. But it is worth every penny, and I'll tell you why. It has some amazing features. First of all, it has the basic weight and measurements of a Mont Blanc 146. And I think that size pen is just near perfect in balance, in proportion, in comfort for writing. And that shape, that elongated shape, it's just perfectly beautiful, perfectly suited for any office environment. But this being similar to a Mont Blanc 146 without the glacier star means that it's not going to call any attention to itself in either direction. It's not going to look too flashy or too cheap. It just has that perfect business look, a balance of resin and beautiful gold trim that's not overpowering or obnoxious in any way. But it also has some amazing features, not least of which is perhaps one of the most beautiful nibs in all of fountain pens. On pure aesthetics, the Sailor nib is absolutely gorgeous, with its central design of the Sailor anchor and all that decorative beauty around it in fine yellow gold. And not just any gold, this is 21 karat gold, which is absolutely brilliant and a bit rare in the fountain pen world. And the nib itself does some amazing things. If you're ever looking for the concept of smoothness versus feedback, you want to know where that balance is, you need this fountain pen. It has a similar feel as a Pilot 823 in its balance of many factors. A bit of softness, incredibly smooth, a very lovely scribing noise, and a nib that still transmits some of the quality of the paper into your hand while you use it to write your amazing words across the page or to sign your name multiple times during the course of a day. There's nothing particularly special about the feed on this pen, but it does seem to provide a beautiful supply of ink as you go along. I've never had a skip. I've never had a hesitation. I've always had a beautiful, luscious flow of ink that is somewhat restrained. I do like the feel of a hard medium, but I also get more of a feel of the paper being transmitted to my hand. These pens are cartridge converter, which, to be honest, I really do prefer a piston fill fountain pen. I just love when the entire pen is integrated. It just makes it a bit more of an elegant writing experience for me and just makes it a little easier to fill. You don't have to disassemble the entire thing. However, The one thing really nice about cartridge converters is if there is a problem with the converter, you can simply pop it out and switch it for another one. Although Sailor's converters and their cartridges are proprietary. So that's a bit of a complication, but if you have an extra one lying around, or if you have one of the cartridges, you can always refill that with a syringe. So you do have options. So on specs, we have a pen that's 141 millimeters long, which is about perfect. The grip is about 10.5 millimeters, which is exactly where I like it. And the weight is around 22 grams, which once again makes it light, but it's a very nice balance. And for me, I'm losing some of that 22 grams by taking the cap off. I don't post this pen. You certainly can, won't hurt it. It's the type of pen that really loves to be posted. It's a screw cap, so there's a bit of screwing and unscrewing as you use it throughout the day, but it's certainly not burdensome. It comes off fairly quickly, and if you do post it and keep writing, it's not something you need to think a lot about. And I think that's an important part of a business pen. You don't want to have to give it a lot of thought. You want it to be there for you when you need it. You want it to perform without an issue. You don't want too much ink on the page if you're going to be passing something off to someone else quickly, or you're going to stand there blowing on it and shaking it, as I've done with other pens, so keep that in mind. So it just needs to be reliable, ready, unobtrusive, beautiful for you, inspiring for you, and just a perfect, smooth, expressive writer. Some of the common nib sizes for these are extra fine, fine, medium, broad. You also will find a hard medium. You can find a medium fine. You can find a zoom nib, a music nib, depending on who's offering it. So there is a wide array of nibs for however you like to write. So I just believe it's the perfect business pen for the office, similar to a Montblanc 146 without the extra logo flash branding. I was very close to choosing my Pilot Custom 823, which is really an absolutely brilliant pen for any situation, and its vac fill system just holds so much ink and it's a lot of fun. But the reason is I wanted to leave this at the office, and I only have one Pilot Custom 823, and I'm not going to leave it at the office because I know one weekend I'm going to want to write with it. So that's why I didn't choose that one, but it's another valid choice. So this fountain pen was sadly languishing in one of my pen cases, and I feel like that's wrong. It's time for me to give it its own spotlight, and it's time for me to celebrate this fountain pen for what it is. An absolutely gorgeous pen that's exquisite, that's great to write with, and that's perfect for the office. So going forward, the Sailor 1911L fountain pen is going to take up residence on the desk at my office next to a bottle of Waterman Serenity Blue, and it's going to get the use it deserves. So what do you think of the Sailor 1911L? Is it a fountain pen that's in your collection? Do you agree with me that it's the perfect fountain pen for business and for the office? Please let me know in the comments. Please like and share this with someone else who you think might enjoy this kind of content. I'd really appreciate it. If you've reached this point in the video, please subscribe. I'd love to have you on this journey with me. And if you want to help the channel even more, consider becoming a member. And for Illuminati and Cognoscenti members, we have a pen pal group. So consider becoming behind the scenes and see what's going on. So I make new videos each week, and I have a live show as well, so I can promise you we will see each other again very, very soon, further up the road. So take care, and thanks for watching.